Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is just an off-topic thing, really. It's a showcase of a map that I'm making. I do it when I have free time, and the the exterior of it looks something like this. San Andreas Map Construction is a custom map editor for San Andreas multiplayer that uses the SAMP game client. However, unfortunately, the community has fallen in disarray, and by that I mean they have no more forums where they have developers working on. They practically gave up. MTA multi-theft auto still remains, but I'm not a really big fan of multi-theft auto as much as I am this custom mode. This here area is still work in progress. It's supposed to be this soldier base that you're supposed to invade like a death match. You go here, and obviously this is all ugly, so it's not done. And also it looks better in game, but this is a platform you're supposed to climb in order to, go on top of that hill and have a shooting range down here to shoot these guys, and so on and so forth. It's basically you can't really pass anywhere here, and the only entrance here is here, again, where you can meet your enemies with this tower. The camera guidance in this is really freaking bad in San Andreas map construction. But I overall prefer this editor over every single one. Over here, there are some houses with interiors that are clearly not done. But when you enter these interiors as a player, you kind of see why it's not done. You can't really tell the difference between the floor and the wall unless you click in it in the map editor. And it's basically a little shooting house where players will be able to shoot from here and shoot on the base, which is this place right here. The chunk of however, this is only a deathmatch, so that's just custom. In San Andreas multiplayer, a long project I've been working on involves these strange objects here. These objects are what I plan to use if I have ever gone around to using them, and I get them from sites. And this here is a custom object, for instance, so you can't find that anywhere in game. This here is a custom object. This object right here is actually a volcano, and so I'm going to spawn it for you so you see what I mean. There we go. That's what it is. It's a single object, and its interior, you cannot really see its colors until you click another object or just deselect it, is right here. That's the interior. That's the lava. And that's all it is. That's all this giant volcano is. However, I didn't use it for that. This thing is called Kuroko Gulch Mine. There's a hole up there. Again, map is in work in progress, so this is called Kuroko Gulch Mine. It's named after something in my book that I advertise sometimes in my YouTube video descriptions. And it's based on the design of Kuroko Gulch Mine, of beta, of what it was a scrapped thing in my book's content, and it's going to appear in the sequel, but it's not going to appear in this book, in book one. Sorry. Originally, this place here was opened. However, it's I scrapped that idea because in San Andreas multiplayer we realized that we have several issues that the modders never addressed, no matter how much times we were telling them to address it. They, for instance, have brought us custom objects that help us with modding the game, but what they fail at really is a couple of things. For instance, collision. The SAMP team has failed heavily with collision. The SAMP team has heavily failed with draw distance of objects and draw distance in general. Certain bugs like the C bug, G bug, as we like to call them, but those are not really bugs. They're just things in game. Do you know how, for instance, your gang member and single player would enter your car and he'd be like shooting as he's in the passenger wheel? Well, let's just say in San Andreas multiplayer servers, people abuse this to the point that they use shotguns and Desert Eagles, and even though they have no drivers. We tried to avoid this a long time ago on one of our servers, where if you would board a bike or a passenger seat, that the Desert Eagle and the combat shotgun would be taken from you. but we chose that we're going to allow, for instance, a drive-by with an Uzi, something more realistic, which you would rather drive-by with. However, the reality is, you could drive by with any of these weapons, but the Desert Eagle would be very difficult to fire. A shotgun would be difficult to fire unless it was a shot-off shotgun, in which case no problem, it's really light, and even a combat shotgun you can technically fire. So the idea of Kuroko Gulch Mine was that we put the players in a different setting. And this setting is an underwater zone called Kuroko Gulch Mines. This is the start of it, where it all starts. There's in order for players to reach this right here, and if they did reach this right here, they would hit it and explode because, you know, the main vehicle is a boat or a vortex in this case. So the map begins from here, and you have several paths to choose from. However, I see it only as two paths. Number one path, number one, and number two. Now let's go to number one. Number one is here. And it's basically a roundabout. It's a roundabout. And caves like these exist. Not all of them are marked by this guy. He's not even supposed to be here. So I'm just going to delete him. When you go and check out the islands each have an interior you can access and shoot from. So for instance, when you're looking at the ocean, and you know if an enemy is coming or not, and the trees are used to, well, as you can see for yourself, the islands are all landable on, and there's these little details down here that players do not know of unless they go. I will try to showcase. Yeah, there we go. An underground cave that basically has an end. This one is very long, and it I don't really. Oh yeah, it leads inside of the cave to this massive cave again, which is a custom GTA San Andreas object. This is the volcano that goes through it, but I'm going to really update the interior of this place. I'm going to have objects kind of everywhere, not just there. Yeah, so I don't care if that's there. I want it to be there. You proceed further, and you go further and further, and as you can see where it's going, it just keeps on going, and eventually just ends there. And that's usually where I'm going to have my skull at, like that skull you saw outside. This is where I place the object, but also an item, a collectible for them to pick up. It's just a cool zone, and it's also one of the zones where I think the players will spawn. I haven't chosen the spawn points yet because I have to complete the map in order to pick where I'm going to go. There's houses like these. If you remember, CJ had to kill somebody in the hills for 10 penny and Pulaski, and this is where the object comes from. It has custom 2 torches. You enter, the interior is completely empty. Again, it's windows, look at the sea. It's basically designed to be a deathmatch over and over again. Now, over here, there's nothing but a balcony, which you can reach if you have a Sea Sparrow, which is the flying helicopter that can go in water. Another interior, and a marker for the interior's entrance. So this place is basically, you know, a work in progress as well. But the point I'm trying to get to here is this is supposed to be everywhere. Why? Because if you look underneath the water, which looks better in the game, by the way, you will totally see that I'm trying to add decorations that make the seafloor and the top interior look good. Again, this is a work in progress. I'm not really in rush to complete it or anything. This is just a work in progress too. It's just an experiment, honestly. Remember, I used the volcanoes for the top, and you can kind of see why I did that. They just fit perfectly. Another house is here. There's stairs leading up to it. There's another house here. It's a little hangout point, honestly. I don't want to make that a spawn point. That's like if you conquer it and you take it, it's your territory. That path, we will go back to it. That's the path I'm referring to. This is an island, and you'll see many of those islands, and every island has something to it. You'll see this on the sea, well, on ocean sea. You will see this island that can lead you up here. You can climb up here. You can go here to that destroyed thing from San Fierro. The house that the lawyer guy, I forgot the lawyer's name. There's a bug in it, and there it is. I have to fix it. I will fix it. I usually do it. And why it's bugged right now probably is, I probably guess because I was trying to, I was meddling with this mountain last round, and I guess that's why it's bugged. But those bugs you really don't see. I don't like releasing my content buggy, and that was the last thing I implemented. As you can see, the island's pretty unfinished. Over here, it's a little rooftop with many things you can access. The rocks here, you don't see them in most areas. You see them here because this area is mainly done, but I'll get back to that area. This is path number 1, and path number 1, this is basically a roundabout. The entire map is a roundabout, so you circle around the map with a boat, with a vortex, whatever. I wanted something new for the GTA community. Unfortunately, the GTA community is not like a Team Fortress 2 community or other communities. They really don't. They just. Let's face it, most people don't have time, or they're not motivated. But most of the San Andreas multiplayer community, unfortunately, is toxic when it comes to its administration. Really toxic to the point that they gave up and shut down their forums. So this is a waterfall, for instance. Again, it looks better in game with the waters actually moving. Same thing with the water below here. There's details underground, like not that, sorry, wait. Okay, now this is above ground. I was underneath the object here, so that's why everything looked fucked. When you go here, this is the ground. This is how the ground looks like. Here I'm usually going to have a grass. I'm, like I did there, I added a couple of boulders to make it look phenomenal. I'm working on nature stuff, so like for instance, I'll add grass over these rocks in the future. Why is everything meshed up together usually in this map? It's because, again, it's the draw distance. If we put things further away from each other, then they destroy things. But we actually don't mind that the map is kind of a single roundabout. Here we call this place the Narrow Pass, and the Narrow Pass is basically a pass where your boats can barely move through, and if a crash happens here, you're fucked. And that's why it's the Narrow Pass. That's why you avoid this as much as possible, but it's a shortcut. It kind of brings you to the Sunken Shipyard section of our map much easier, and I'll explain that in perfect detail. The caves are being worked on. Why does it have this, for instance? Because if you enter the cave and if you go further, you will realize at the end that there's nothing there but nothing. And so most of these caves, for example, will serve as, let's just say, ammunition shops, food shops, and so on and so forth. And they will have a glass, so you won't be able to enter that cave. And if you do, you won't really find anything interesting beside it. And behind them, we'll add another object, just so you know, don't go there, but it's not interesting. But people will try to glitch because, when do people not? There is a round circle right there. This balcony is meant for shooting people. This little island here is meant for shooting people, climbing up the tower to get to here. That has to be closed. That's how it looks underwater for now. But you kind of get the point of what I'm aiming for, I hope. When you keep on going further and further, you'll notice like some areas are more improved than others, some are not. Here's a ramp again, and this ramp leads you to General Lu's factory, which is a section that might be a spawn zone in the future. I'm not really sure yet. This is a custom helicopter platform we added here for the Sea Sparrow. Well, I added here. I'm a mapper mainly. The other dude I work with, he's my scripter, coder. He likes doing things, but he's been not active as of late, busy. And I understand, we all have our lives, so this project will not even probably see its official release, unfortunately. But before I retire from the life, I just wanted to share what I did in the GTA community before GTA itself gave up on its community. Inside here is the green goo factory, and it has its cauldrons. It has its green goos beside it. that use the same texture, if you kind of noticed. So whoever made this custom model, and most models are marked with odd numbers like 19527 and so on and so forth. A1A876 is a custom object. This is not a custom object. The entire factory here is not a custom object. The floor placed here is a custom object. The Green Goo factory was a little mini deathmatch fighting zone, but later on I just decided, nah, it's just going to be a secret room. If players want to find it, they find it, they access it, and they just overall have fun. You know, it's not supposed to be taken like a serious zone. It's just a reference to one of our villains of our series of GTA that we were going to make. The green goo would also drop from this giant green goo would drop from a helicopter and go boom. So when it lands, it would explode and kill people. If it would hit the water surface, it would explode and kill people. But the helicopter we wanted to add for it, there would be only one in existence, and you would be able to easily shoot it down. And in an interior like this, where your ceiling is kind of screwed, you have a narrow pass like this, you really hope that that helicopter can get through the pass, and you got to be a very good driver. And that's what it is. The game rewards you for actually trying to use your helicopter rather than just flying away and doing nothing. This is why we closed the interior. You keep on going and going and going, and the narrow pass leads you to eventually to the Sunken Shipyard. This island is not complete, and I'll give you a little look back how it looks when you go back through the narrow passage. So quick back so you can see how it looks. There you go. There you go. There you go. So this is how it would kind of your camera angle would look like if you were on the boat. So remember, that place over there is a roundabout. Now we'll skip all this, and this right here is the center of the map. So you kind of you can't really see it from afar unless no, you can't see it from afar. Well, there's a roundabout basically. The entire map goes around and around, and so every interior you see is blocked by a volcano surface tile. So you kind of know where the roof of what is and where it is. I hope you understand what I mean. If not, I'm sorry. English used to not be my primary language. So you come here to the Sunken Shipyard and you got two paths, but officially, and you got one. This path right here tricks you. This path doesn't. This path goes all the way to the back, where you kind of notice you have a mountainous field available to you along with the caves. The trees look better again in game, and the map editor they just look retarded, but in game they look good. The Sunken Shipyard ends here, which is a soldier's base of General Liu's fortress, and they were supposed to have a custom interior that I posted on YouTube. I posted a map of General Liu's interior fortress, of an edit of Big Smoke's Crack Palace, and I never made the map available to download, and I don't think I have my old files so I could do that. And if I ever do find my old files, if you would like me to upload those maps to YouTube so you could download them, please let me know, and I'll update my GTA videos and I'll include most of the maps that I've done. I've done and edited original interiors, exterior places. I've edited Grove Street. I fixed original bugs within interiors with using San Andreas objects, but only for San Andreas multiplayer. MTA doesn't have most of them fixed, and I have them fixed. I did this because I was OCD when I was playing San Andreas multiplayer. So I have like experience doing all of this. So the shipyard leads you here. You can go through it. Obviously, only if you have a helicopter, you could go up here, but you still have to worry about these towers and if anybody's there. General Liu's fortress has the biggest flight deck you'll ever encounter and biggest military base in history. There's definitely, probably one day will be a spawn zone, because we will only have two gangs in this game, two gangs, but I think both of them will spawn in the cave, so maybe this won't be a spawn zone. It's going to be scrapped, but it's going to be one of those territories that if you take it over, you can spawn here. Like you've taken over this hood, you know, and this is an extra spawn point that you can choose to spawn from. or spawn in. And it's excellent because you can jump out and you can end up down here, which is an isolated section by itself. You have a base inside of it, and you have this glass. So you can't, you just can't walk through this hallway unless you go around the glass. And you have to keep on going. And over here you have the bunker from Area 51 with an interior. Again, the San Andreas multiplayer team did a brilliant job working on this, and yet they quit one day. They just said, fuck it, we'll pack up and leave. Up here you got a little secret. If you climb on these houses right here, which is from the Zero's RC game, you climb up on the house and you go up here and boom, you got yourself an extra floor. And that's a secret of the mapper, because over here you don't have an extra floor, but in the middle you do. And over here it's not really a secret. You only got this you can really climb on, if you can climb on, and if you manage to. But I've never made a platform that you could climb up there. I just never planned to yet, at least. Over here there's this mountain that's in your way, and it's not supposed to, well, it's supposed to be like that, but what I'm trying to say is you're not supposed to go in that area. I don't want you to go in that area. But behind the mountain there's this little thing, and if you fall here, well, you're basically fucked. And that's why that was added. I added some funky interior decorations here. This, I'm not sure if it really fits it. Maybe I'll replace that. But it's basically a little interior where you can play around with, fuck around with. And if you look underneath the water, like everywhere else, you'll see. This is the section where I started adding more waterfalls and rocks, where I first really experimented with them. And this path leads to here, which I call the Crossroads sections, because you go to the shipyard, you go to the soldier's base, or you go back where we originally started from. This shipyard section, sorry, not the shipyard, but the soldier section, leads you to this giant factory. Now, if you're curious, and if you would like to test my GTA San Andreas map on your servers, and if you're curious about it, let me know. Maybe I'll upload a link one day in my description, and you can access this map and try to play a water mode server. That would be interesting, right? As long as you give credits to me, and if you're making cash, I would like to ask for some profits, But nah, it's your server. If you have a server, then everything's all right. Unfortunately, I don't have time working on it as I used to, but this area leads you back to the Sunken Shipyard, and the shipyard is all about just sunken boats. And if you're in game and if you have a boat, you often hit the boat if the waves lower it up and down. And our waves are set to go straight. There's made to be wavy, sorry. And so you got to understand that in the server, the gameplay really depends on how you set the water mode to be like, how you set the weather to be like. And this map is designed to think about the situation of all weathers. Over here, we go back, and we are taken back to that base where we started from, but it takes us a little while until we reach it. So until then, we go here, we got this little island, we got these 4 miniguns you can't really use, that are really there for decoration. Down here you got this little platform where a boat is going to be parked in the future, like a vehicle. You can go on top of this platform to shoot. I moved that by accident. You see that, so I had to press undo. You can climb on this platform and shoot people coming in both directions. You can go up here if you have a helicopter or somehow manage to get up there without one, which you really can't. Over here you got the little factory where people can enter and shoot you at as you're going. And over here there's a little fence, if you notice, because if you're going to hide behind those fence, you're going to shoot your enemies. Again, that's the entire point. The entrance is actually right here. It's kind of hidden from you in the back, and that's the entire point. This is a bunker. You're supposed to defend your bunker, and it inspires teamwork, because we don't want to use sawn-off shotguns. We don't want to use guns that basically say, hey, I can just walk in there, shoot you, and be over with it. No, no, you have to plan your defense and how to do your defense. And plus, you're going to be at sea. So you want to destroy the enemy's boat as much and as fast as possible. And you can't really run up to them with a Desert Eagle as you could before. But people still abuse the Desert Eagle bug to the point that they boom, 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 just spam it at you with no reload. And again, I wish the SAMP team worked on those bugs, but they never did. You got this island right here. You can go over here and climb. And climb and climb, and you can access this interior that leads you up on this, and you can climb up here. I forgot the initial plan of how I did this again. Oh yeah, it's a Big Smoke statue, a little reference to Big Smoke. I forgot how I do this. I wish I could remember how I did this in the past. There's a way to get up here. It was such a long time ago. Oh right, no, you. That changed. Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot. You climb this area right here, and you can access this building on every floor. You can jump on every single platform. So I went in game. I actually tested these platforms. I tested how can I climb on each and every single one. When I load this in test mode in the SAMP map construction, my game crashes because it can't handle the draw distance. So that's why a San Andreas multiplayer server is the only one where I can really test the map. Over here you access the floors, and in the beta you could have jumped from here to here and then went over there and basically got on top of this. But now you can't do that, so I'm most likely going to add a staircase right here that's going to lead right here so you can access this. And this area used to be far wider. It used to not be so small or narrow like this. It used to be really wide and open until I had to close it and make this out of it. This is all the area I lost because of it, because the draw distance is just fucking terrible. Oh, shit. I screwed up. Yeah. Well, since I'm already screwed up here, this is a secret area, which is a Game Master zone. It's isolated, it's desolate, nobody's here, and only the Game Masters could be here. There's this little secret house inside of here, and this object here is supposed to be added in front of every cave entrance door, so you know that you can go inside of the cave. So this object is actually going to be almost everywhere, not just because the GM area has to look fancy. You go here, and you can see I kind of started experimenting with how am I going to decorate around the waterfall. And yeah, and that's basically what I was doing. I was experimenting with the waterfall. I was experimenting with the ceiling, and I added the volcano to the ceiling. I like it, right? You go here, which is that place if you want to look at it and how it looks, and you realize I had more crates, more places where you can hide and shoot from. And this is all what it is. It's just a San Andreas on drugs on water. And this is a long bridge, again, made by the San Andreas multiplayer community. I'm really sad that they gave up. I'm really sad the forums gave up, that they gave up, because they made lovely objects. Lovely objects. And you go here, and boom, you're done. You're back. If you noticed, we're back at the same place where we started. It's a roundabout. This took me a long time to make, of course, and it's still work in progress. I wanted a new world for the GTA community, one where the helicopters, the boats matter, but the cars really don't. So don't get angry there. The cars would make a return, of course, and on our second mode, but we still don't know what the second mode would be. But this is for the boats and helicopters mainly. The other one I wanted really to be planes and cars. But I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. So this is an underworld, and I want Sky World, like Sky City. Yeah, so that's my testing content right there, and now some extra content that comes with this map I designed. Ignore this right here. I gotta remove that later on. It's an object I added a long time ago, but I just forgot where I added it. Over here you'll see there's tons of grounds, and this ground is located off the coast of Los Santos, and the exterior view looks like this, but I reassure you, it's not that bad. And this object usually doesn't load with it, and it's, yeah, see, I got an access violation, all because of that stupid, and now I don't see my mouse. Wow. Okay, now I see my mouse when I click this. But anyway, yeah, this is a little project I was working on. And in the end, I finished this. And this was supposed to be the boat version of for racing, for instance, for water version of racing compared to Blood Bowl on land, for instance, or the other racetracks, A-Track, for instance. And you would enter here, and this is an interior on the top. However, this is not the official field where you would go, but this is an interior on the top. Right here would, and right here in the middle, right here hidden in the middle, is the player selection screen, where players would be able to select their character and the loading screen. And as you can see, I worked a lot on this. I hung green goo from the skies. I made a ring where the character's model would stand. I made skulls so you can stand here too, and here on these platforms where the water would come out. This whole place basically is just a hidden interior of the player selection screen, and it's located in the middle of the racetrack. This is the racetrack, and the racetrack begins from here. Now, in what direction does it go? Just a moment. Oh, okay. It goes from here. So, are you following me on this one? All right. So the racetrack keeps going. You end up at a little field, and you got to be careful of these explosives. And that's another thing the San Andreas multiplayer community failed to fix. When you hit an explosive barrel, for instance, and let's just say you've been in this race longer than the other player, you hit it, it counts on your screen and explodes. On certain screens for certain players, it would still be there as if it didn't explode. That's no good. You know, that's really no good. You could avoid the explosives if you think you wouldn't go between them by going on this side where there's no explosives, the longer route. However, there is still a barrel there, right there, for instance. So you can go over this island with a vortex, for instance, if you had a vortex. The vortex was the planned vehicle for this. Boat really wasn't. You go through here, through this harsh little jungle. You keep going, and you land into landmines. Bumpers. They're more like bumpers, not landmines. These are supposed to be landmines, but again, the San Andreas multiplayer community failed at this, blah, blah, blah. You hit these landmines, and all they do is they bump you back. They throw you back. You hit something, you're flying. Basically, that's what they are, which is lame, honestly, which is really lame. You go on the side here, and again, you take the longer route, and boom, you're back at you did lap 1. The boat here is for behind this bush right here. There's a little secret ramp, and if you go up this ramp in a very good normal speed, a certain normal speed, I'm maybe going to remove that bush. Yeah, probably going to remove that bush. But anyway, when you go take a certain speed, you go through here, and you land on the other side, as you can see. And yeah, you keep on going, and there you go. That's the racetrack. And right here, in this little hall, that's where the player starting zone thing is. And so this map, again, was designed for a C-map level that I've never, ever completed. I'm not really expecting this video to get any views, but if you see this, and if you're part of the GTA community, and if you think you want to experiment on a little boat draw distance, how draw distance works, I can't really promise you that this map is going to work, because the draw distance is poor shit. And so we usually set our weather and we put fog, so by the time the object loads up, it's hidden by that fog. However, now I made all the paths narrow, and I still haven't tested it in the game. And when I do test it in the game, I will know that if I made all the paths narrow, if the objects will reload on time. And I think our experiment will work when I get to the experimentation of it. Yeah, so this is Kuroko Gulch Mine. I hope you liked it, and if you want to see more of San Andreas multiplayer content like this, let me know. I work on this map when I'm free, when I have time. And when I don't, I just don't work on it. I hope you enjoy this little walkthrough. I'm going through it very quick right now, so you can just look at it all, how it all looks like, where it all leads again, how every interior goes, where it goes. I'm just browsing through it, honestly. There's many caves underwater, like this one, for instance. However, it's uncertain yet where they go. Like this guy goes to a dead end. And I need to decide, okay, am I going to leave them open for players to dive and go and get these objects? They're not decided. Only one room is officially decided, which is that big interior. So I have a lot of those, as you can see, and I got to explore every and each one of them and see what I can do with them. And the Sunken Shipyard is a really funny area I've designed. That island, for instance, right there is not done. So this map is basically a work in progress. And it's a big map. It's a very big map. It's almost done. I'd give it an 80%, just like my book, honestly. Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to save my map. I really don't feel like moving, so I'm just going to delete that tree later. And this is San Andreas map construction. The editor that I'm using, you can totally see it. If you would like, I will provide a download link in the description at the end. I will provide a download link in the description. Why not? I'll provide a download link in the description to where I downloaded the map editor. If you ever want to fiddle with GTA San Andreas content, but you need to have San Andreas multiplayer installed if you want to construct. That's why it's only meant for San Andreas multiplayer. And yeah, that's all. I hope you enjoyed my little showcase of my map. And I don't think I forgot anything. Oh, well, one more thing maybe. And then you people will be able to escape my angst. These are the new water ramps that the San Andreas multiplayer community added, and I'm using currently only this one. This is a little side testing field. This is what I used to build a racetrack with at the beginning. I'm planning to use all the other racetracks, like Blood Bowl, for instance. And yeah, that's it now, I think. Yeah, that's it. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, and yeah, let me know. And have a good day, Thank you for watching, if you watched, and links in the description for the map editor.